changed. No doubt that is a statement that seems obvious to anyone who has ever sat in a cafe that they only found thanks to Google, of course. And people watch while listening to their favourite podcast, or exchanging the latest hot meme on Facebook with their friend, who lives in Germany. Of course the world has changed. How could it not have changed with the advancements of technology that has taken place over the past few decades? The internet has allowed for society to become instantaneously connected in the way that is now about as impressive and as second nature as breathing. So much of our world takes place in the digital landscape now that the line between online and offline is close to being erased. But is this newfound reliance on digital media a good thing or a bad thing? In an educational context, it can be seen as both. As a distance learning or online student, I know what it's like to learn solely via digital media and rely on the technology provided for me. And for me personally, my experience has only been positive. For many mature-age students like me, attending on campus is neither financially viable nor is it often possible without upending their life to move from rural Australia. These are issues that are no longer a problem thanks to the advancements of digital media, and where a distant student might once have relied on snail mail correspondence and such minimal contact with their teachers that screaming into the void might have yielded a faster response, they can now feel so connected to their teachers and peers that it almost feels like they are in the same room. The use of discussion boards, email, video conferences, and even Twitter enables a dialogue to take place between those on campus and off, and for that dialogue to continue. Furthermore, to quote Dolan, Hancock and Wareing, a key strength of online learning is the degree of flexibility that it allows, which may not be available in a more traditional classroom-based course, unquote. This is one of the greatest benefits of online learning, the fact that it can be fit around a person's busy schedule, allowing for students to work full-time or have a life outside of studying. Lectures can be downloaded and watched and then re-watched as many times as needed to fully absorb the information. Or set readings can be accessed on a student's smartphone and read while on the train to work. Not only has digital media made learning more accessible and involved for anyone who wishes to study, it has also changed up the ways in which we learn. Amy Owen expands on this by saying, quote, "Students have access to vast stores of information, and today it makes little sense to ask them to memorise content. They most need to learn to use the content," unquote. Unless you become an academic, very few jobs are going to ask you to recite theory about Media 2.0 that you learned in your first year as a media major. They will, however, likely expect that you know how to create a video or use the internet for research. The internet and digital media aren't going away. In fact, it seems plausible to assume that society will grow far more reliant on it than we currently are, so it is vitally important that students learn the hows, and not the whys, of digital media, so that they can develop valuable skills that will pay off later in their lives. The use of digital media can help enrich learning and make an online student feel just as immersed in the experience as an on-campus student might. That said, there are always flaws, and it has to be recognised that digital media is not for everyone. To quote Leanne McRae, many students are hyperlinked, hyperconnected, and have hyperactive attention spans, unquote, which, when experiencing university purely in an online context, is not always a good thing. With flexibility, it is so easy to say, "I'll do that later," and then give in to distractions and procrastination, especially when there is so much to look at on the internet and you have the attention span of a puppy. It is easy to fall behind when you're hiding behind a computer screen, and anyone who has ever attended university will know that falling behind, even for a day, can result in more anxiety than is healthy in a person. And no matter how immersed into the class digital media can make a student feel, online studying can also be isolating. To some, university is a chance to connect on campus, make friends, and enjoy the occasional bender, all of which isn't always possible online. And then there's only so much time you can spend hanging with your cat at home before it gets weird. Licky. There's also the fact that sitting in front of the computer all day instead of venturing outside to go to class probably isn't that healthy. But then that level of inactivity is not exclusive to university. Furthermore, where students once would have hit the library to scour through a handful of heavy textbooks looking for that needed information, they can now find everything they need and more with the click of a button. This can be either a good or a bad thing, but in a negative context, this ease of access often borders on laziness. Using the internet for research can lead to a variety of different sources and information that would not be found in a brick and mortar library. But it can also result in a narrow viewpoint that comes from the student not looking past the first page of Google or their online library. It's hard to look at digital media in education from a good or bad context and come up with an answer that suits everyone. For me, the good far outweighs the bad, but I am only one person. People will either love and appreciate the accessibility that online learning allows, or they will hate it. It's not for everybody, and it doesn't have to be. Just like digital media, on-campus learning isn't going away anytime soon, so a choice can be made. But if you do happen to become an online student, please remember to go outside and get some sunlight, at least once in a while.